Hey, what's up guys? It's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm going to be doing an updated version of my Vampire deck profile. Now, this is a really interesting deck that just got new support in the new Dark Saviors set, which was actually one of the most powerful sets that we've gotten with reprints from the Sky Striker monsters being released to this deck to even the For Hires being released. And I've actually really fallen in love with the way that this deck functions with the new support. Before we get into this, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell down there so you guys can become a part of the notification squad, so as soon as I drop Yu-Gi-Oh videos, you guys can check them out. And I would like one quick shout out to James. He's one of my really good friends at culinary school where I go, and he actually was the reason that I really wanted to build this deck so I could show him how it plays. Really good friend of mine, love cooking with him in the kitchen, really nice guy. Just want to give a quick shout out to you, James, and here is the profile, my friend. So let's get straight on into it and see what I'm playing. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Vampire Scarlet Scourge. Scarlet Scourge is a really interesting monster that if it's normal or special summon, you can pay 1,000 life points, then target a vampire monster in your graveyard, accept another copy of itself, and special summon it. But it cannot attack this turn. The other effect of this card, and a lot of the new vampire cards actually contain this effect, is that if they attack and destroy a monster by battle, you can special summon that monster from the graveyard to your side of the field, which is really neat because it kind of steals your opponent's monsters and allows you to link and overlay. And we'll get into Vampire Sheridan's ability later that actually plays in with that. So then I play 1 copy of Vampire Red Baron. I absolutely love the artwork of Vampire Red Baron. But you only really need 1 copy of it. You can pay it, once per turn you can pay 1,000 life points, then switch control of one of your vampires to your opponent, and switch control of one of their monsters to your side. And then it has the same effect that if you destroy a monster by battle, you could special summon it to your side of the field. But it's really interesting to give them like Vampire Familiar or Vampire Retainer or something like that, so you can actually beat over it, special summon it back to your side of the field, and then get an additional search, which is kind of neat with some of the combos that we'll get into later. Then I actually play 1 copy of Vampire Grace. I play her for her special summoning effect of when a level 5 or higher zombie monster is special summoned to your side of the field by a card effect, by the effect of a zombie type monster. While it's in your graveyard, you can pay 2,000 life points, then special summon it to your field. That's the main reason I really play her, is because she helps with my level 6 overlays, and she helps me with link summoning as well. And she just keeps going to the graveyard and coming back as well. And I'm not really too worried about the 2,000 life point clause, because she kind of pays for herself with Vampire Domain. So then we play 1 copy of Vampire Grimson. Now, Grimson's the one that I kind of want to drop, but I really love the artwork for it, and so I haven't dropped it. Grimson is if you control, basically if your vampires are going to be destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can pay life points in multiples of 1,000, but you have to save them all or none. And then it negates the destruction of your vampires, which is cool. And then it has the same effect of that if it attacks and destroys a monster, you get to steal it. I just really love the artwork of Grimson, and I just can't bring myself to drop it just yet. But I may or may not drop Grimson in the future. Then I play 3 copies of Frowlin, which is Vampire Frowlin. Frowlin is by far the best new vampire of them all. Frowlin's effect is that when a monster declares an attack, you can instantly special summon her from your hand. And then once you special summon her from your hand, if a zombie monster you control battles, you can pay life points in multiples of 100 all the way up to 1,000 to make one zombie monster you control gain attack points equal to that amount. With Vampire Domain on the field, when you deal damage to your opponent, you gain the life points back. So basically your opponent can't attack you. It's kind of like a soft lock when you get Vampire Frowlin and you get Vampire Domain on the field, which I'll explain when we get to Domain. But basically Frowlin plus Domain equals your opponent can't really attack you. So that's why we play Frowlin at 3. I really want to get her on the field as quickly as possible. I know some people play 2 of her, but I feel like 3 is the best way. Plus she special summons herself directly from the hand for free. So why not play 3 of her? Just for battling. Then I play 1 copy of Vampire Shadow. I know he can be a little slow, but he's searchable, and he's great if you're going first. Because you can normal summon him out. If you normal summon out your what's it called? If you could draw like Domain and then draw like Retainer or Familiar, normal summon them out and then pay the 500 and then normal summon him out, you could basically make a free XYZ summon or Link summon if you want to. But he can help out and he makes some really weird combos in the deck that are really nice. He's a good one of. I would probably at this point would not play him ever and more than one, but one copy is still good. Same thing goes for Vampire Duke. Duke is a great one of because he's good late game opposed to Vampire Shadow being good early game. Vampire Duke, when he is in the when he's normal summoned, you can special summon a vampire from your grave. So he can bring back stuff like Scarlet Scourge, and then Scarlet Scourge can pay that additional 1,000 to bring back another one, and then you can go from there. And you see where I'm going with that. So that's when we play Duke. Then we play one copy of Vampire Vamp. When you get her effect off, you get her effect off. Like, it makes a big difference. Vampire Vamp's effect is that once per turn, when this card or a vampire monster is normal summoned to your side of the field, you can target a face-up monster your opponent controls and basically equip it to her like Relinquished, and she gains attack and defense equal to that monster's attack and defense, which is crazy. She can get really big really quick. Plus, she bae. She awesome. She's probably my favorite vampire of them all. I can't help it. Like, she's my favorite. So I have to play her at 1. And, like, you got a lot more normal summons in this deck now, so it's easier just to normal summon out, like, again, Retainer and Familiar to get her effect off really easily. So the way we still play 2 copies of Vampire Sorcerer. Basically, if it's destroyed, you get to add a vampire card from your deck to your hand. Also, the graveyard effect of being able to banish it and then normal summon an additional time during your turn without tributing is really, really, really nice because it works for Vamp where you can just, like, banish it and then normal summon out your Vamp and then steal something. So the combo between these really is, like, it has a lot of synergy between these. So that's why I play her at 1 and him at 2. Then we play 3 copies of Vampire Retainer. Vampire Retainer is if it's special summoned, you can pay 500 life points, add a vampire spell or trap from your deck to your hand, excuse me. And if this card is in your graveyard, you can send a vampire monster from your hand or face up from your field to the grave to special summon this card. And Familiar does the exact same thing, except it searches a monster instead, which is really nice. But that's it for the new Vampires cards, guys. I'll show you some of my tech cards really quick, and then we'll get into the spells. So that's it for the Vampires. Pretty big lineup of monsters in this deck, but you kind of need it, because zombie decks thrive off of having big monster lineups anyways. So let's get into the tech monsters. So we're playing 3 copies of Mizuki. I see some people playing 2 copies, but I feel like 3 is like a necessity in every single zombie deck to play Mizuki at. So I'm playing 3 copies. I'm playing 3 copies of Shiranui Solitaire because it lets me special summon out Unizombie, and Unizombie is essential. And then I'm playing 2 copies of Unizombie because you're already playing the 3 Shiranui Solitaires. So you've got 2 Unizombies to special summon out off of the Solitaire. This might be the one thing that I drop Grimson for, a 3rd Unizombie, but for now I'm just kind of playing 2 and 3. I haven't run into any problems with it either. I get it when I really need it, and I don't when I really don't. But Unizombie is a really good combo starter. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. There's not very many spells and not very many traps. So we play 2 copies of Vampire Desire. Desire effect is that you can target a vampire monster in your graveyard to send 1 monster you control to the grave, and then you get to special summon that target. So basically it's like Monster Reborn for the cost of discarding 1. And then you get to target a face-up monster you control, send a vampire monster from your deck to the grave with a different level, and basically it level modulates where it becomes that level, which is nice. Then the main one that you're going to want to get as quickly as possible is Vampire Domain. Domain is crazy, and the artwork is crazy too. Once per turn, you can pay 500 life points during your main phase. This turn, you can normal summon 1 vampire monster in addition to your normal summoner set. And once per turn, and then each time your vampire monster inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you gain the same amount of life. That's what I was talking about with Fraulein. Like, every time you're going to pay 3,000 for her. Because if you have this and her on the field, you just lose, like, very minuscule, and you gain all of it back. So it's like, why wouldn't I pay 3,000 to gain, 5,000 back? Because I'm going to deal so much damage to my opponent just by hitting them directly. So Domain is a must-of 3 of in this deck, and I don't understand why anybody would play it anything less. And then because just about everything in the deck is dark, we play 3 copies of Allure of Darkness. Basically, draw 2, banish a dark from the hand. That's pretty much it. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get straight on the traps. Traps are pretty easy. We only play 4, and we're playing 2 copies of Vampire Awake and 2 copies of Vampire Awakening and 2 copies of Vampire Domination. Now, this is something that I've actually thought about bumping each one of these up to 3, but I find that 2 Awake and 2 Domination is really optimal. Because with Awakening, you can special summon a vampire from your deck, but destroy during end phase. Usually you're going to use that on your Familiar and your Retainer. So that's the big thing about this. And then Domination is like literally Infernity Barrier. And when a spell or trap or monster effect is activated while you control a vampire monster, you can negate it. So it negates anything in its speed spell 3. It negates Solemn, it negates anything, as long as you control a vampire. And then if it's a monster that it negates, you gain life points equal to that monster's original attack. I think that card is crazy. I might bump this up to 3. I don't know what I would take out yet, but this might go up to 3. But for now, this is the optimal ratio that I'm finding. If I wanted to turn this a little bit more control, I play this at 3 and maybe play this at 1. I don't know, but they're both searchable off of Retainer, so that's why I'm playing them at the levels I am. So anyways, let's get into the extra deck. That's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck, and we'll see what I'm playing. So first off, we're playing 2 copies of the Vampire Sheridan. Vampire Sheridan is really, really good. If you use a monsters with a level that is originally owned by your opponent, you can treat it as a level 6. So if you steal your opponent's monster and then use it plus a level 6 like Scarlet Scourge, you can use like any level monster. Which is really, really good. Then you can, once per turn, detach a material, pop a card, and then detach an additional material and special summon it to your side of the field if it was a monster, which is really, really cool. I really love the effect of Vampire Sheridan, because it like the whole deck is like turning your opponent's deck to your side. Then I play 1 copy of Vampiric Dragon. The reason I play this is because, it's a vampire. Why not? Plus, the other reason is it's kind of like Book of Moon, so why not? Beatrice at 1 because it sends stuff from my deck to grave and we make so many 6s. 1 copy of Crimson Knight Vampire Braum. Braum is really kind of neat in this deck. You only need 1 copy of him at this point because, he special summons stuff from your opponent's grave, which is nice, but other than that, I don't make him that much. Usually I find myself making Vampire Sheridan a lot more. Because we play Unizombie, I play 1 Beals, 1 Void Ogre, and 1 Psyframe Lord Omega. Omega is like a necessity in every single zombie deck because he keeps getting your banished stuff back for you, and he rips cards out of your opponent's hand. And then 1 Black Rose because we can make Black Rose, and you might need that 1 quick bombard the board and use Mizuki's in your grave and special summon everything back. So that's why. 1 Borreload because we can make it. 1 Soryuja again because we can kind of make it. Topologic Trisbania because you can make it, and if you make this and you special something to your side of the field and hit all the back row, because we don't play a heck of a lot of back row in this deck except for Domain, and if I have another Domain in my hand, I'm not worried about it. So that's why I play Trisbania. Then I play 1 copy of Underclock Talker. Really good card, really good generic link to, and then 2 copies of Vampire Sucker, which I'm still amazed that this name got away. This is 1 card that you really kind of want to read for vampires. It takes 2 zombie monsters to make it, and this is the main card you're going to be using in your extra deck. If you would tribute a monster for a tribute summon, you can tribute a zombie monster your opponent controls. Now, some people are playing Zombie World in this deck and using that ability, and I kind of see why, and I'm thinking about playing around with that, but I don't know yet. And your opponent, even though you do not control it, and then its other effects are, you can only use each effect once per turn, and you can target 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon it to your opponent's field, but it becomes a zombie, so it ties into that first effect. And then also, if a zombie monster is special summoned from the graveyard, you get to draw a card. So the majority of the time, you're going to be using Vampire Sucker. So anyways, guys, that's it for my vampire deck. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed taking this deck profile. It's a really, really neat and fun deck. I really enjoy this deck. It's not even that expensive of a deck either. I would estimate, you could get this entire deck for less than $100. maybe even cheaper than that. If you like cut some of the extra deck stuff like Borreload, you could probably get this deck for maybe $40. Like, it's cheap. It's very cheap. And it's very fun, too. But anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell right down there so you guys can become part of the notification squad, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See you around, guys.